For decades, the calories in, calories out (CICO) model has dominated popular and scientific conversations about weight management. At first glance, it seems irrefutable. Consume more calories than you expend, and you gain weight. Consume fewer, and you lose it. But while this basic principle of thermodynamics holds in controlled laboratory conditions, applying it to human metabolism, behavior, and obesity in real-world settings is not nearly so simple. In fact, clinging too tightly to this reductionist model risks misunderstanding the true complexity of how body weight is regulated and why so many struggle with it in high-calorie, modern food environments. To begin with, energy balance is not static. The body is not a passive recipient of calories and movement. It is a highly adaptive system that adjusts its internal processes in response to what we eat, how much we move, and even how long we've been dieting. When people reduce their caloric intake significantly, the body compensates by lowering its basal metabolic rate, BMR, reducing spontaneous movement, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, and even suppressing reproductive and immune functions to conserve energy. This metabolic adaptation makes weight loss harder over time and explains why people often experience frustrating plateaus despite continued calorie restriction. Moreover, the calories in side of the equation is far more complex than it appears. It's not just about how many calories are consumed, but what form they take and how they interact with the body's hormonal systems. For instance, calories from protein tend to promote satiety and require more energy to digest and metabolize than those from refined carbohydrates or fats. A 500-calorie meal of chicken and vegetables has a very different effect on hunger hormones, insulin response, and subsequent food intake than a 500-calorie portion of sugary cereal or processed pasta. These differences in food composition help explain why not all calories have equal effects on body fat accumulation or appetite regulation. Hormones play a key role here. Insulin, for example, is a powerful regulator of fat storage and hunger. Diets high in refined carbs and sugar can keep insulin levels elevated, pushing more energy into fat stores and leaving less available for use as fuel. This can create a cycle of hunger and fatigue that drives further overeating, even when energy intake seems excessive. Other hormones, like ghrelin, which stimulates hunger, and leptin, which signals fullness and energy sufficiency, are also influenced by sleep, stress, inflammation, and the nutritional makeup of the diet. When these hormones are dysregulated, the body's natural ability to self-regulate energy balance begins to break down. The calories outside of the equation is equally dynamic. While physical activity does burn energy, its impact on long-term weight loss is often overstated, particularly when it's not accompanied by changes in diet. Additionally, the body may compensate for increased exercise by conserving energy elsewhere, such as by reducing NEAT or slowing other physiological functions. This phenomenon, known as constrained energy expenditure, suggests that the body has a limit to how many calories it will burn in a day, no matter how much we move. And then there's nutrient density, the ratio of beneficial nutrients to energy in a given food. Highly processed foods tend to be energy-dense, but nutritionally poor, meaning they pack a lot of calories into a small volume without delivering much fiber, protein, or micronutrients. These foods are often hyperpalatable and designed to encourage overeating, making it easy to consume excess calories without feeling satisfied. In contrast, whole foods like vegetables, legumes, and lean proteins provide more nutrients per calorie and promote a sense of fullness that naturally helps regulate intake. Another overlooked factor is the gut microbiome. The trillions of bacteria living in our intestines influence how efficiently we extract calories from food, how we store fat, and how our immune system responds to different dietary patterns. Some microbes are better at harvesting energy from food than others, meaning that two people eating the same meal might absorb different amounts of calories. Diets high in fiber and plant diversity tend to support healthier microbial communities that may help prevent obesity, while diets dominated by processed foods can shift the microbiome toward a more inflammatory, energy-extracting profile. Psychological and behavioral factors further complicate the energy balance model. Stress, trauma, and emotional eating often lead to patterns of overeating that are not responsive to logic or education. Chronic dieting can lead to disordered eating, binge-restrict cycles, and a loss of trust in the body's natural hunger cues. Simply telling someone to eat less and move more ignores the powerful emotional and neurological drivers behind eating behavior, as well as the cultural and environmental pressures that shape those behaviors in the first place. In high-income societies where food is abundant, cheap, and aggressively marketed, the human brain is constantly bombarded with cues to eat. This constant stimulation overrides the body's internal regulation systems and promotes passive overconsumption. The obesity epidemic, therefore, is not the result of individual failure to follow a basic equation. It's a predictable consequence of a modern food system that exploits our biology for profit. To be clear, energy balance still matters. One cannot gain weight without a net surplus of calories over time. But to reduce obesity to a simple math problem is to ignore the deeply intertwined biological, psychological, and environmental realities of human metabolism. People are not closed systems. They are living, adapting organisms shaped by their genes, experiences, and surroundings. What's needed is a shift from focusing narrowly on calorie counting to emphasizing food quality, hormonal balance, sustainable habits, and supportive environments. A meal plan that emphasizes whole, nutrient-dense foods, adequate protein and fiber, balanced macronutrients, and consistent sleep and stress management is far more effective than one built purely on calorie arithmetic. Likewise, policy changes that improve food environments, such as restricting junk food marketing, subsidizing healthy foods, and reshaping urban spaces for physical activity, will have far more lasting impact than individual dietary advice alone. In the end, obesity cannot be solved by slogans or equations. It requires a deeper understanding of the human body, human behavior, and the modern food economy. The SICO model may offer a starting point, but if we want to create real, sustainable change, we must move beyond it, toward a more holistic, humane, and biologically accurate understanding of how people gain and lose weight in the world we've built.